Hi students, welcome back to the online classes. So today we are going to start a new lesson from your 8th standard physical science textbook, and our lesson name is sound. So in our daily life we will hear several sounds. We will hear the sounds of the vehicles, we will hear the horn of the train, we will hear the horn of the train, we will hear the sound coming from the factories or machineries, or we can also hear the sound of the air, moving air. We can also hear sound of the moving air, and we can hear several sounds of animals or sound made by our humans. We can communicate each other through the sound. So in this way, the sound presents everywhere. A sound is an omnipresent. The sound is omnipresent. It presents everywhere around us. Sound is an omnipresent. So omnipresent means it presents everywhere, but we cannot observe with our eyes. For example, air is an omnipresent. Why air is an omnipresent? It presents everywhere on the earth, but we cannot see through our eyes. So similarly, sound is omnipresent. So we cannot avoid that sound. Even if you are single, if you went to a jungle also, there you can't hear any sounds of vehicles or factories, but you can hear the sound of the air, you can hear the sound of movement of trees, you can hear the sounds of birds. So in this way, the sound is present everywhere around us. Wherever you will go, you can hear some sounds. So that's why sound is a omnipresent. Sound is a omnipresent. So let us list out what are the sounds you will hear. Let us list out what are the sounds you will hear. So if you observe some sounds, you can identify. You can identify some sounds, how the sound was obtained. For example, if a plate is fallen down, or a wooden block is fallen down. So how wooden block has fell down. So you will hear some sound. You will hear the sound created by this wooden block is different by the sound created by the plate. So you can easily identify. So you can easily distinguish. You can easily differentiate the sound created by the plate, and you can easily differentiate the sound created by the wooden block. So what was happened here? You can able to all sounds are not similar. All sounds are not similar. So the sound made by the plate is different from the sound made by the wooden block. So similarly, our humans, the sound made by our humans is different, and different animals will make different sounds. Here the sound is not same. So all the objects, all the materials doesn't create the same sound. So different materials will create different sounds. Different animals will create different sounds. So in this way, so you can easily identify how that sound was obtained. Some sounds, how that sound was obtained. So you are very well known. You are associated. The sound was associated with your lives. That's why by hearing the sound, you can predict which object causes that sound. So if any plate was fell down, so you can say, so it is a utensil. That sound was obtained by utensil. That sound was obtained by a wooden block. So in this way, you can easily identify the different sounds. Why? Because you have experience with the sounds. You have, from your daily life, you have so much of experience, so that you can distinguish and you can predict from which object the sound was created. So how this sound was created? So let us observe the objects creating the sound. Let us observe the objects creating the sound. So let us consider a bell. Let us consider a bell. Let us consider a bell. So I have considered a brass bell, and so just make a sound using this bell. Just make a sound using this, and hold the body of the bell. If you hold the body of the bell, you can observe some movement in the bell. For example, if you are having cycle, you can hold the bell of the cycle, or you can make it ring. You can make a ring, you can apply force on the cycle bell, you can apply force on the cycle bell, and while it making sound, just try to hold this object, just try to hold this object. What will happen? So you can observe some movement, you can observe some vibration, you can observe some vibration in the body of the bells, you can observe vibration in bells. So let us consider a matchbox, an empty matchbox. Let us consider an empty matchbox. So, and place a elastic rubber to it. Attach a elastic rubber to it and make a sound. You can stretch the rubber, you can hear the sound. If you stretch the rubber and release, you can hear the sound obtained by this matchbox. So then also you can observe the vibrations with your by touching that matchbox. You can observe the vibrations in the matchbox. So, and let us consider another example. Let us consider a plate, a lunch plate. So all you have lunch plates, and make the sound with a spoon. Strike the lunch plate with spoon. So strike this lunch plate with spoon, strike like this. So you can observe. So here the plate will produce a sound. If you touch the plate, you can also observe the vibration. You can also observe the vibrations. Or place a saw blade. Place a saw blade on a table. Place a saw blade. This is a saw blade. Or you can place a steel or iron scale. You can place an iron scale. Place an iron scale and place a brick here in order to avoid the fall of scale. So place a saw blade like this and trigger and apply some force on the scale. Apply some force on the scale. The scale will vibrate up and down. Then also you can hear the sound. So by observing all these cases, what you can conclude? You can conclude that the vibrations in the objects, the vibrations creating in the objects are producing the sound. The vibrations created in the objects produces sound. So why the sound was obtained? The sound was obtained due to the vibrations in the vibrations. The sound is obtained in the vibrations in the objects. The vibrations in the objects creates sound. So from these activities, our conclusion is vibrations in the objects create sound. If I strike the board, it will vibrate. This board will vibrate and creates the sound. It will vibrate and creates the sound. So similarly, every object, if this was making sound, every sound making object will vibrate. So those vibrations in the object will produce sound. So let us discuss another activity. So which shows that sound has energy. So let us perform an activity that supports this statement, that proves this statement, sound has energy. So consider a glass tumbler. So this is a glass tumbler, that means a transparent glass material. So consider a glass tumbler and consider a phone and play songs with high volume. And place that phone inside the glass tumbler. So I have considered a mobile phone. So place that mobile phone inside the glass tumbler and play the songs in it with high volume. So now close the mouth of the tumbler with a balloon rubber. So you can find the balloon rubber and close the mouth of the glass tumbler. Close the mouth of the glass tumbler. So, and add a and tie to it and tie a thread to it. So you have arranged a rubber cloth, balloon rubber. To the mouth of the glass tumbler. So, and place some sand particles or sugar crystals on it. Place some sand particles, sugar crystals on it. So, if you place sand particles on this membrane, on this diaphragm, we can call this layer as diaphragm. So, on this diaphragm, on this rubber membrane, place sand particles or sugar crystals. So, if you observe while playing the songs, these sugar crystals will have some movement, and may you have placed the sand particles, you can observe the movement in the sand particles or sugar particles. So, why the particles are moved, how the particles are moved. So, if I was moving, what that means? I have energy to move. I have energy, I have consumed some food, that's why I have got some energy, that's why I was able to move. So, but here, why the sand particles are moving? Who gave energy to the sand particles? Who has given energy to the sand particles? So, that energy was obtained by the sound. That's why sound is a energy. Every moving object will have some energy. But here the sand particles or sugar crystals, how they got the energy? They got the energy due to the sound coming from this mobile. So that's why sound has energy. In so many movies you may observe that sound can break the glass materials. The sound can create some vibrations in the things around in the room. So if you watch Robo 2.0 movie, so there what will happen? The robo will increase the sound of the speakers, so that the glass materials in that room will breaks out. So what it says, it indicates, sound is nothing but sound is a form of energy. Sound has energy, or sound is a form of energy. Sound is nothing but it is an energy. There are different forms of energies are there. Heat energy, mechanical energy, kinetic, potential, and thermal energy, wind energy, tidal energy. There are several energies are there. In such a way, sound is also one form of energy. Sound is also one form of energy that produced due to the vibrations. In the object. Vibrations in the object produces sound. So, let us observe the sounds coming from the musical instruments. If you consider, so what you have observed, what is the activity that describes sound is having energy? So you need to consider a glass tumbler and place the phone playing songs in it with high volume inside a glass tumbler. And cover the mouth of the glass tumbler with rubber balloon and tie it rigidly. So place some sand particles or sugar crystals on this diaphragm, on this membrane, then you can observe some movement in the sand particles. So it indicates the energy of this sand particles is obtained due to the sound coming from the cell phone. So in this way you can explain an activity which proves sound is having energy. So sound is nothing but sound is a form of energy. So now let's consider some musical instruments. So if you consider musical instruments. So musical instruments, let us take tabla. So tabla will have some cylindrical structure and the upper region is covered with some membrane. So it consists of a hollow space. Hollow space means some empty space will be there. Inside the tabla some empty space will be there, and it is covered with a stretched membrane. It is not loosely attached, it is stretched, tightly fixed. This membrane, the membrane present on the tabla or drums are stretched membranes. Its membrane means a layer. So a stretched membrane is attached to the upper region of the tabla. So when you strike this tabla, what will happen? You will get some sounds. We will get some sounds. So here, what is the vibrating part? So in the musical instrument of tabla, what is the vibrating part? Here the vibrating part is stretched membrane. Stretched membrane is the vibrating part. So not only stretched membrane, the air inside the hollow space, the air inside the tabla will also vibrate and produces a very pleasant music. So here, which part of the tabla was vibrating? The stretched membrane present on the tabla, and the air inside the hollow space will also vibrate. So in this way, the vibrations of the air in some musical instruments will create a beautiful sounds. So not only vibrating objects, the vibrations in the columns of air, can also create sounds. For example, if you consider flute, so here there are several holes will be there. So here the vibrating part is not the wooden stick. So this wooden part will not vibrate while creating sound. So how that sound was created? That sound was created by the vibrations in the air column. So here the vibrating part in the flute, the vibrating part which creates the sound is air column. The air column means it is a narrow tube, that's why we will call it as column. So the air column present inside the tube, inside the flute, will create sound, will produces sound. So similarly in sitar, violin or guitar, so what happens? So in the case of sitar, there are strings present along its length. So if you pluck the strings, the strings will create sound. So here the strings are stretched, rigidly stretched strings will be there. So tightly fixed strings will be there. So if you consider guitar, the width of the guitar will be very large. It will have some width. So the air presented inside the guitar and the vibrating strings. Here, which part will create the sound? Vibrating strings and the air column present in it. So mainly the air column, what the air column will do is, it will create a large sound. It will magnifies the sound. It will increases the sound. The air columns presented here will increases the sound and gives a pleasant sound as an output. So here the vibrating parts is strings and again air in hollow space. Air vibrate will produce the sound. So in that way, not only the vibrating objects, some musical instruments will create vibrations in the air presented in the hollow space and produces the sound. So these are the examples, so which creates a different sounds. So these are the examples which shows that vibrations in the air will create some sound also. The vibrating air can also be a responsible for creating sound. So let us perform another activity. So let us consider again, let us consider a glass tumbler. Let us consider a glass tumbler. Place a cell phone with playing some songs with high volume. So place a cell phone in it. So I have playing some songs. So, and keep this glass tumbler near to our mouth. So keep this glass tumbler near to the mouth and try to suck all the air inside the mouth. Try to suck. You have to extract, you have to remove the air which is present inside the glass, inside the glass tumbler. So try to suck all the air present in the glass tumbler. So then most of the air will be removed. Then observe the outcoming of the sound. So if you observe the sound after sucking the air, then the sound will be reduced. The sound will be decreases. So if there is no air inside the glass tumbler, if there is no air present inside the glass tumbler, then you cannot get any sound. But after sucking the air, why you are listening small sound? Why? Because you are not able to suck all the air. Some air will be remains here only. That's why you will hear a little amount of sound. If you are able to remove complete air from this glass tumbler, definitely you didn't listen any sound from this mobile phone. If you are able to remove the sound, you remove the air from this glass tumbler, then you cannot listen the sound coming from this mobile phone. So here, what is your conclusion? The sound needs medium to travel from one place to another place. Sound needs medium for the propagation. Propagation means moving. For the propagation means traveling or propagation. So if the bell rings at a large distance, you can be able to hear by standing at here. You are able to hear it by standing here. So what was happened? The bell was rang at large distance. The sound is travelled from that distance and reaches to your ears. So what was happened there? The sound was travelled from one place to another place. So but this sound needs medium to travel from one place to another place. So which is acting as a medium? Here the air is acting as a medium. Air allows the sound to travel from one place to another place. Air allows the sound to travel from one place to another place. If you are able to listen the sound coming from your mobile phone, what was there? There is air present in between you. If there is no in space, you are not able to talk. You are not able to listen the sound. For example, the persons in the ISS, International Space Station. So they don't. If they are having air, then they can speak each other. So the International Space Station will have some air for breathing. So definitely they will communicate each other normally only. But in space, if they came out of that International Space Station, in space there is no medium. In space there is no medium. So if there is no medium, how much loudly you will speak, even no one can, even you also cannot listen that sound. Even you also cannot listen, you also not able to listen that sound. You are shouting in space. For suppose if you are shouting in space, even you also cannot hear the sound created by you. Why? Because sound needs medium for the propagation. Sound needs medium to travel from one place to another place. So let us do an activity. So consider a long metal rod. Consider a metal rod or a long wooden scale, meter scale. Consider a meter scale. Consider a meter scale and ask your friend to stand here and keep this one end of the scale, one end of the iron rod at your ear. Keep this at your ear. So, and ask your friend to make some sound at this end, a little sound. Ask your friend to make some little sound on this metal rod. So what will happen if he was making some sound, you can able to hear that sound. So here the sound is traveling along the solid substance. The sound is traveling along the solid. The sound is able to travel along solid substances. So here you have came to know that the sound is able to travel. Now the sound is travels in air. Yes, sound can also travel in solid material also. Sound can also travels in solid materials also. For example, if take two empty matchsticks, two empty match boxes. Take two empty match boxes and connect thread with each other. So connect with a large thread with each other. So take this thread to the other room and take this matchbox to the other room and ask your friend to take this matchbox to the other room and you sit in the different rooms. So you and your friend are sitting in different rooms. So one is at yours, one matchbox is at yours and other matchbox is at your friend's. So and ask your friend to speak. So if you place this matchbox near to your ears, so you can able to hear the voice of your friend. How that sound was traveled? There the sound was traveled along the string. The sound was traveled along the thread. So here he was creating some vibrations. Sound is nothing but vibrations. Those vibrations will travel along the air. Those vibrations will be able to travel along the solid material. So similar way, the vibrations of sound will travels along with this thread and reaches to your ear. So in this way, the sound is able to travel in gaseous materials. The sound is able to travel in solid materials. Now perform an experiment with liquids. So consider two stones. And consider a beaker with full of water. Consider a bucket with full of water. So consider two stones and strike the stones in the air. You are able to hear the sound. So just repeat the experiment. Strike the same stones by keeping this inside the water. So keep the stones inside the water and make a sound. So then you are able to listen this sound also. So this is the proof for sound is traveling in a liquid medium also. So sound is able to travel in solids, liquids and gases also. But what is the difference is the speed of the sound is greater in solid materials. The speed of sound in solids is greater than speed of sound in liquids is greater than speed of sound in gases. So in which medium speed of sound is greater? In solids medium, speed of sound, it is not the loudness, how much fast. Here the sound reaches to the other end very fastly in case of solids. Why? Because in solids the speed of sound is larger when compared to the speed of sound in liquids, and this speed is greater than speed of sound in gases. So with this session was completed. In the latter session we will discuss that how humans are creating sounds, which part of the human is responsible for creating the sounds. We will learn this in the next session. Thank you.